So tell us about where you're at. It looks like we've got a schedule.
Well, basically, I just want to ask some questions regarding my
Great.
upcoming trial exams.
Go ahead.
Just preparing and stuff.
Okay, so we've got 2 weeks and then it's a 2 week block. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could use past papers.
Yeah, I've done some already.
Beautiful. Okay, so that's perfect. All right, you're in a really good position. So I would be using two key factors to determine how much time you're going to dedicate to different topics. Okay, because we're going to face it that when we've got 6 subjects and we've got 2 weeks, we've got probably multiple topics within each of those. Like there's no way you're going to cover everything in detail. Okay, so we absolutely want to have a priority system. First of all, I want you on that schedule to determine how much time you have on every day that you are going to spend studying. Give yourself a proper guide. Okay, like today I'm going to have 3 hours. Today I'm only going to have 1 hour. That day I'm going to have, like, maybe it's a weekend and I've got the whole day. I might have like 5 hours or whatever it is. And then you map out all of your content that you're going to need to know for the exams. And then you start to kind of go, okay, first of all, which are the most important ones? Okay, now the most important I would suggest are ones that feel like your weaknesses and ones that you know are highly likely to come up on the paper. Now, I know that we don't know what's going to come up, but when you go back and look at past papers, which is perfect that you've done that, you kind of will see things that, like, yeah, there's always some question on this kind of topic, right? And let me be clear to everyone why I say that. Because you want to bring up your weaknesses, because if they ask a significant question on one of the areas that's your weakness, you don't want to be scrabbling around with like nothing really to write or really struggling to put in, you know, what is the concept or the calculation I need to do here? Because we all know, especially for those larger questions, let's say it's a 6 or an 8 mark question in perhaps like a physics or a maths question or whatever, or maybe even higher, it's relatively easy to get a first few marks. Even if it doesn't go perfectly all the way through, you can pick up quite a lot of marks with some of the basics, okay? So make sure you've got weaknesses and things that come up often are your priorities, and then start to slot them in. Because what I want you to be clear on is that it's outcome based, not time based. It's not, I'm going to spend 3 hours studying and who knows what gets done in that time. You've got to go by outcome rather than time. It can't be, I'm going to do 3 hours of study on a Monday, because I'm like, on what? And what are you going to expect to have covered in that time? And what you'll probably find, because most students find this, you'll go, I've got more stuff than time. And that's okay, because you're going to notice that now. You don't want to notice that when you're 3 days away from the exam.
Yeah.
Because that's then where the priorities come in. You're like, right, I've got more stuff than time. What do I want to do? Do I want to just do a little bit less revision on each of these things? And which of those things that I'm going to cut it back on? Just decide beforehand. So it is planned. Okay, it's not as much panic if we realize it at the start.
It's definitely a bit hard though, in lockdown, because I'm in Sydney.
Yeah.
And trying to just concentrate over everything, it's quite difficult.
Okay, so tell me why.
Well, I'm just in the same place pretty much the whole day, which I'm pretty sure doesn't help.
Okay, so what could you do to change that?
Probably do some exercise.
Okay.
Sports cancelled.
So do you see I'm just kind of being a little bit hard, because like we could come up with this reason that it's hard, and it possibly is, like, it isn't easy being, you know, stuck in the same room and all the rest of it, but could you genuinely like go, right, I'm going to do my morning time in my bedroom, I'm going to do the other time at the, you know, maybe the dining table, the other time is going to be here, like just to give you a slight change of scenery, like, and just to break it up, it'll make you feel like you're chunking your day down rather than it being one long day. Possibly, I don't know. It depends who you've got in the. Okay, depends who you've got in your household and what your house setup is. But possibly, like, really do that. Like, all right, morning is going to be this, and this is what I'm going to cover, because you're going to know what your outcomes are. This is what I'm going to cover, and I'm going to cover all of this in this here. And then I'm going to get my other books. I'm going to set them up in this room. I'm going to give myself the 2 or 3 hours or whatever it is here, and this is what I'm going to get out of that time. Like, really be really structured, okay? And absolutely, like, give yourself that break. Like, I literally, I do this. I will put myself 40 minutes on my timer on my phone, but I also turn it onto airplane mode. And I put 40 minutes on, and I'm like, I am not doing anything else apart from this task I've set myself in this 40 minutes. And you'll realize how much you want to drift off into other things. The amount of times in that time that I'll be like, I'll just check my email. And I'm like, no, don't check your email. You're doing this thing.
Oh, another thing. When do you think I should, like, stop doing notes and just going practice? Do you think it's like the
I
halfway
think
mark?
I think they're part of the same thing. I think you want to decide, if I'm covering this topic, how am I covering it? Am I best to cover that topic through notes, mind maps? I'm all about the transforming the information. So if it's in notes, turn it into a mind map or a flow chart or a character web or whatever. Or do I want to do, obviously, like with maths, like most of it's going to be practice questions.
Yeah.
Even if it's bio, it might be like, let me find myself 4 practice questions. I'm going to give those a go. You're welcome to forward them, like put them onto a coaching call. I can give you feedback on practice questions in terms of the exam technique. Yeah. And program that in and go, right, well, if I'm going to do the next coaching call, when do I need to get those questions done? That has to be an outcome in that particular time. It's just honestly, you're going to feel like, especially because I can tell you already a bit like, oh, there's not much time. You're going to feel like, I don't want to spend this amount of time planning. Okay. But if you don't plan it, it's going to fall apart anyway. So plan it really carefully, spend hours planning it, and it will repay you in more than hours for the next 2 weeks. Because you'll be really clear. You're never going to sit down. Like you've already said, like, oh, it could be hard to concentrate and, it's not ideal. So don't make it even harder for yourself by sitting down and going, what am I going to revise and how am I going to revise it? Am I going to write notes? Am I going to do past questions? Am I going to do mind maps? Am I going to do character? What am I going to do? Like have all that organized from the very start. So you sit down, you got your 40, I just like doing 40 or 45 minutes, whatever. Sometimes an hour feels a bit too long. It depends what it is. If you're in the zone and it's a subject you like, you could go like 50 or 55 minutes, give you, and then really force yourself to have the 5 minutes, go have the break, come back. But you don't want to be sitting down, like not really knowing. You want to sit down and go, right, I know I'm going to be doing this, this, and this in this time. Here I go.